Thank you.
Number 3, update on the forgivable loan program and Polk County grant program. Mr. Gordy.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. First thing I'd like to inform the City Council is that Josh Grindy was today elected president of the EDA. So we will be moving forward under Mr. Grindy's leadership this year, or the next 2 years. The EDA approved participating in the county program. When the state approved its $216 million assistance program, there were money set aside for direct payments to restaurants and bars. There were programs in favor of the theaters and convention centers and places like that. And then there was money also set aside given to the counties for businesses that did not qualify for the monies to be given to restaurants and bars, and for places such as hotels that have convention centers that don't fall under the convention center criteria within the state, other portions of the state statute. The portion that was allocated to Polk County was approximately $622,000. Polk County has set aside $200,000 for use in favor of East Grand Forks businesses. Today, the EDA approved criteria that the highest priority businesses receiving those funds would be businesses not eligible for direct state payments and other businesses that have slipped through the cracks. The committee identified 3 restaurants, 2 transportation businesses, and 3 hospitality businesses in this highest priority. Funds not identified for the prioritized businesses would then be available to other retail, travel, restaurant, service, and hospitality businesses. All applicants must submit a profit and loss statement for 2019 and 2020 to determine the relative impact, and they would be reviewed in a manner similar to the way the CARES Act applications were received. So we'll be posting this on the website within a day or so that businesses can apply. The deadline for applying for that is January 29th. So are there questions on that part?
I have one. For the county dollars that came through the state, what are their criteria? What constraints are we given, or do we have pretty wide latitude on that county money?
There were no constraints put on the county, the monies that went to the counties. We are actually trying to focus it on those where the impact was the greatest. That's what the EDA decided to do.
On the county money, those are dollars.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
On the county money, those are dollars that are grant dollars, and the county controls who gets that money, correct? We just
County
give them.
will make the ultimate decision on those.
Right.
They have told us that they will be accepting our recommendations, and those are grant dollars, not loan dollars.
Right.
That's correct.
Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. If the 29th is the target date, what's the anticipated dispersal date?
The EDA, the loan committee of the EDA will get together the following week to go through the applications that for the city allocation. It will go to the EDA on February 9th. The committee at the county level consists of the administrator in Fosston, the economic development director in Crookston, myself, and the county administrator. We will meet on February 11th. It will go to the county on county board on February 16th for approval and dispersal immediately thereafter.
Okay. And then I guess the only other question I have is all the outreach that's being done to make sure that people are aware of these programs, is it just through the website, or is there another avenue or other avenues
It will be a combination of website and direct outreach to businesses that have been identified. When we went through the County CARES Act, we did the CARES Act dollars that were available at the county level. We did a similar process reaching out directly to businesses, and we will be putting the information also on the EDA Facebook page.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on that portion?
Get it out.
Want to move on to the next one, Gordy?
The loan committee was concerned about how to fit all the programs together. There are actually about 5 programs going on right now, and wanted to take a few days to work with the forgivable loan program. At today's meeting, the EDA decided that what they would do is have the loan committee meet on Thursday to iron out all the details of the city program. It will also meet next Tuesday in special session, and it will set a deadline a couple of days after the grant program, because we believe that some of the businesses may decide that they want to apply for the grant, and when they find out what the grant amount of money that they will be getting or recommended for, that they may want to actually change or increase their request for the loan from the city, because the EDA was very concerned about making sure that this could be used in the most effective and strategic way. Mr. Helms, do you have anything to add, perhaps?
Well, I think you kind of hit it on the nose there. The biggest reason why that it didn't get done earlier, and we tabled it when we did, because when the council decided to commit the money before the holidays, nobody wanted to, it was so close to the holidays, we couldn't get everybody to get together to meet to get anything accomplished in. And so we kind of just delayed it until, like Mr. Gordy said in our meeting today, and then come up with a plan. Not that we were trying to do anything different, it's just that I know for myself, and I asked here at the last council meeting, all these executive orders and everything out there, to understand every one of them and what's going on, and then try to run them all together on different loans and everything was really difficult to keep track of, and to keep everybody, so we can hopefully get everybody covered. And that was our whole plan behind it, was so that we can get everybody covered that's probably going to need it. And then the other problem I run into was I talked to a couple, 3 restaurant owners. Most of them have said that with the guidelines, depending on what they are, but the guidelines has been put out there that it would be, could be up to a 5-year loan thing, personal guarantee. Most of the people I talked to said they weren't interested in doing that, because nobody right now can guarantee how long they're going to be here. I know everybody's in good faith wants to be here, but it just depends on what happens down the road. So that's why we kind of pushed the county one ahead of the city one, because being as it's a grant and not a loan, we figured it might do more good for some of them than the loan would. So we're going to get the loan prepared on Thursday, as Mr. Gordy said. We're going to meet Tuesday with the guidelines and have them ready. Hopefully those will get approved on Tuesday, and then to have the meeting. I don't know if that's coming to the meeting for approval there or not, or
it'll be at the EDA for the approval, and then we can post it.
Okay, so we don't need to bring it to the council meeting, I guess is what I was getting at. So, and then we can post it, and hopefully we can keep moving on it. So, I just, again, want to thank the city and the council for putting that money in there, and hoping that you will understand, and that, we just need a little time to get everything put together and do it proper. So, but we are working on it now again. So, that's all I got.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add to that is that we will make sure the council gets information regarding the criteria. And that's the criteria for eligibility, and it's the criteria for forgiveness.
So, Mr. Gordy, you're telling me that by next Tuesday's meeting, you're going to have the criteria put together for the forgivable loan program?
I'm
Correct.
saying that the EDA will vote, I will review, and I anticipate vote on criteria next Tuesday. Yes, sir.
Okay. One of the things I want to say about this, I did watch the meeting today, and I want to thank a couple of the EDA members for keep pushing this forward to make sure that the recommendation that came forth and not doing something right away and then waiting 30 days and then having to wait another 30 days maybe to get everything rolling. With the comments today, I want to, say, was I anticipating this to move forward today at the meeting? No, I did not, because of what was coming out of the loan committee. And I think we need to do what we need to do to make sure this money gets sent out and helps out who can be helped. The conversation that happened today regarding people that get to start up with their businesses yesterday and making sure that they have enough money to make sure they have the orders in and the food come in so they can keep moving forward and making sure they can make payroll. Like they said, we don't know when the PPP stuff's going to be coming rolling back out for the money being dispersed. That's going to take a while. Sounds like maybe starting Wednesday, the banks are going to be able to take applications, or it might be next week. We don't know yet for sure, unless it came out later today. I think we don't need to be, can't be short-sighted in how many people are going to apply for this. Even if it's 5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20. The number doesn't matter. It matters that we can help who we can help. I want to make sure that everybody knows that we didn't do this lightheartedly to take the money, the $260, and allow it to be sent out to the businesses because we knew it was the citizens' money. But we thought we should do something. And I hope that the EDA takes that and comes back Tuesday with the parameters and moves it forward and keeps moving it forward. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gordy, with the meetings that the EDA has in place this week and early next week, I would like to ask you for your best estimate on a date or potentially a range of dates when our businesses could possibly see the disbursement of the $260,000 in question.
Since we need to give them an opportunity to evaluate the impact of the county's program and make sure that we don't miss somebody, what we're looking at, where we talked about today, was we will have those names on approximately February 9th, allow them to apply through February 12th, and the money should be going out as quickly thereafter as possible. It takes some time because it's a loan program for forgiveness, and there are certain documents on here that will take some time to prepare, but we'll be working expeditiously to get it done as quickly as possible at that time. And Mr. Galsted can explain further about the time and the documents that have to be prepared to make this possible.
And he's on, but I probably can't hear you.
Ron, you might be muted.
I'm sorry, I just was disturbed, but I'm thinking that the earliest, if we're looking, if you're looking at potentially drafting the guidelines on Thursday, going back to the EDA on the 19th, having some type of a application period, and then going forth, the earliest would be the beginning of March. Because we would have to draft up the documents, set up closing times, and disperse the funds. So it'd be sometime the beginning of March, earliest, in my estimation, if that's what Paul was asking me.
Mayor Gander.
So, I think everybody knows that through this process, I am a little disappointed about the lag and the delay that's taken place. I'm not pleased with that. Now, I will say that I have full faith and trust in our EDA board and our EDA staff. Most of them I either appointed or reappointed, and I have high confidence in our city council representation to the EDA board. If they hit some sort of a blockade or stonewall that didn't let it go forward, I respect that. Lord knows that leadership is a challenging effort, and until you're right there immersed in the middle of it, say on the EDA, on the loan committee, or whatever it might be, it's really hard to know, just how difficult that would have been to move. So again, I'm going to give the most powerful affirmation that I can, and high confidence in the EDA board and the EDA staff. These are good people, and certainly in many ways more qualified than I am. I'll just say it like that. Everybody on that board has some high qualifications to be there. But there is one way, did I say but? There is one way where this does not have to ride along with the state county grant dollars. And the reason is, if somebody really has an immediate need for money, if we could get this built and finalized and applied for and dispersed any sooner, and then if they get some grant dollars, they could take this out. They could pay it off with grant dollars in the future. There's no reason to wait for a grant program to come to full fruition before you decide if you're going to apply for a forgivable loan. This can zoom ahead if it wants to, if there are no other obstacles. So they don't really have to be coordinated. I do believe the need for money, we're starting to see some folks starting to teeter a little bit, and the need for cash is great. And whoever said, buying all the groceries to get back going again and starting to make payroll, it's real money when you start to reconstitute your business after a shutdown. A lot of front-end costs. So if there is a way, and again, I have tremendous respect for the EDA board. I've said that now 11 times. If there is a way to move this ahead of the county grant program, and even if it has to be taken out in a month or two with dollars from a grant program, they pay this back, so be it. But I don't know that they would do that, because really, depending on how you all structure it, I've heard that you could potentially, not that this is going to happen, it could be in 6 months, half of it could be forgiven. So if they're still with us in 6 months, maybe half of it could be forgiven. And then the remainder over the rest of a 5-year period. And so there's a way for this to turn into a nice windfall for the businesses, and they need it, and still an effort to preserve them and keep them viable to that 5-year period for full forgiveness. So that would be my challenge. If there's a way to let this program move ahead of the county grant program, I see, if I'm that business, I'm jumping on this. And please know, in good faith, we want to forgive these loans. That's a good faith effort by us. We want to forgive these loans. We want you still here month by month, year by year. And we're not trying to trick anybody and say, oh, you got to pay. No, there's none of that. It's only a forgivable loan program because it has to be by law. Okay, there, I'm done.
Mr. Demers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel like I might be piling on a little bit here, but I do feel passionate about this. Obviously, I spoke at length about it before the holiday, and obviously we as a council need to give this money free of attachment to EDA, so for general purpose and direction and how it was administered, we don't have, once we give it, we have to give it our blessing. But the purpose of this money was to get into the hands of those people that needed it quicker. Now, March isn't acceptable. It appears that these are man-made obstacles that we're, like the mayor said, I mean, there doesn't appear to be any reason why you have to have a 5-year forgivable loan program that trails off. I mean, the city, when we voted to do this, and I know I was willing to give more, and I know the people that voted on this did it with a lot of trepidation. I mean, it was trepidation. I mean, it's a hard vote for people, but we did it knowing that we didn't expect it back. This is money that isn't coming back to the city of East Grand Forks. We don't expect it back. Get it in these people's hands now, or we'll remember it when it comes budget time next year. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything at this time? Mr. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. I can assure you as the EDA that the guidelines that we're pretty close on the guidelines already. We had done some of that preliminary stuff. About the only thing we have left is to determine the length, the percentage, and the personal guarantee. So I'm pretty confident that we'll get that all done on Thursday, and that we can have that all ready to go out on Tuesday. But you talked about getting it to them quickly. I remember very well that I was one of the people that spoke about this before we ever started this whole thing, that these people need this money now, okay? Well, I can tell you this much, that once we do our job on Thursday, it's out of our hands. We can't do anything about it. It's all the legal stuff that has to go through to get it done. And we all know when the legal process starts, it's not quick. No matter how fast we like to do it. We had to tie all these different things to these loans. Everything had to be done the proper way. You can't just go out and hand them a check. I said that today at the EDA meeting. It would have been nice if we could just got a check from the city and said, here you go, folks, make it work. It don't work that way. I know everybody's concerned. I think we've worked pretty hard on the EDA and the loan committee. We spent 2.5 hours that day working on all this stuff. So we didn't just kick it out to the side and do things. We tried to get everything done properly and getting ready to go. So I can pretty much guarantee you that Thursday night it'll be ready for Tuesday to start the process. What happens after that, that would be up to, it's my understanding that our city attorney has to check with another one to see, for us to find out the guidelines on what terms we can go with, because there's going to be some stipulations there from higher up. I don't remember who that attorney was or whatever, but there's going to be some stipulations there on how many years we can go. So we got to work with that. There's a lot of things we have to do to make it done right and transparent so we don't have our same issues we've had in the past. But thank you for giving us the time to do it.
Mr. Gulstad.
I just want to reiterate that though the loan committee did, in fact, discuss these issues for 2.5 hours, though they might not have come to the same understanding and agreement that was the recommendations of the city council, their discussion and decision to delay the $260,000 was very well reasoned and logical, and had no intention to create any type of heartache or animosity. And they're working diligently to do it. As Mr. Helms has indicated, there are some legal hoops that need to be jumped through. And the fact that from the date that the city of East Grand Forks granted the money to the EDA, there was already about a 2-week time frame that was delayed due to the holiday season, and therefore some of the expediency had dissipated in light of the fact that there was other monies that actually went out today to the restaurants. The loan program that they had an availability to get 1% loan money, as well as the money that's coming from the grant to the county. So all of those programs, plus the PPP monies that are going to be available now again through the federal government, were all considered in the decision and their discussion. So it wasn't done lightly, and it was very well reasoned. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments at this time or questions for Mr. Gordy? I see none. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Helms, second by Demers. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried and means adjourned.